Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another What's for Dinner. So, for Monday's dinner, I was still doing the pantry clean out, and I ended up making pulled jackfruit nachos. And I ended up not making the full recipe. I had to go do something, so my husband ended up finishing the recipe. So I only have part of it filmed, and then the rest of it is just, I'll leave the recipe in the description box. It's really easy recipe. But basically, all you have to do to prepare the jackfruit, because you have to prepare it before you saute it and all the stuff, is you're going to take it, you're going to drain your cans in a wide colander, and then you're going to turn the water on and take a piece of jackfruit and gently massage it in your fingers. And when you do, you're looking for seed pits and seeds and any hard spots. So if you find a seed or if you find a seed pit, you're going to take that out. And then also if you find any hard spots, you're going to want to rip it off or cut it off, because it will not pull, like it will not turn into pulled pork consistency. It will actually turn into like brick consistency. So basically you're just going to do that for all of the jackfruit, and you will find some huge seeds. Like I found some amazingly big seeds in this, and it was so cool to actually be able to pull this apart and look at it. But that's all you really need to do to prepare the jackfruit. And once I had drained the water and prepared the jackfruit, I ended up with probably a can and a half of it, because of course you're going to have to take off the bad spots, so you're not going to have as much afterwards. And then just saute it in the rest of the ingredients and throw it on some tortilla chips. I had to make my own from those corn tortillas in the very beginning, and the thing that I found online was not good, was not a good way to do it, so yeah, that's why they're burnt. So again, with the cleaning out of the pantry, I had the spinach wraps and the rice and the quinoa that was like half full that I wanted to get rid of. So I just cut up the rest of my potatoes and boiled the rest of my quinoa, and those spices right there are what I roasted my potatoes in. And then I just put everything in the wraps. Wednesday, we actually went to Walmart, so we just had this store-bought mac and cheese and waffle fries because I was exhausted. So Thursday, we ended up having portobello mushroom fajitas, sheet pan fajitas. So I basically just sliced everything up into slices and coated it with a tiny bit of oil and sprinkled on my own homemade fajita seasoning mix and put it in the oven. I put it in the oven for, I want to say 10 minutes at 400 degrees, and you'll know when they're done because the peppers will be cooked down and so will the mushrooms. And this is what it looks like when it's done. I squeezed a lime over it all and then mixed it all. And then once I was done, I put it on some warmed fajita-sized flour tortillas with some sour cream and ranch. And I ended up serving it with a side of chips and salsa. So this day I was really craving pasta, so I decided to make this garlic rotini veggie pasta. And all I did was cut everything up and saute it in a little bit of water, and then I boiled my pasta and put it all together. I did end up adding quite a bit of olive oil on the top of it because it was really dry by the end because there wasn't any like dressing or anything on it. It was just seasoning and the vegetables and the pasta. So I ended up adding quite a bit of oil over the top of it. I tried to avoid that, but I actually really liked the way it tasted and I was pretty okay with it. If I was to do this recipe again, I would probably add like zucchini and squash and maybe some asparagus, like some just steamed or sauteed asparagus, just to get like the veggie part of it because it was really lacking on like vegetables. It was mainly mushrooms and broccoli and pasta. And last but not least, we come to my husband and I's favorite meal this week, and probably one of my favorite meals that I made in a while, and it was mini chicken pot pies. Yeah, so I just cut everything up and then sauteed it in a little bit of vegetable broth, and then once they were cooked down, I added probably about a cup of liquid and I just let them cook in that, and then I added probably 3 tablespoons of flour, I want to say, and then just cooked it until it was like a thick paste. Added a little more vegetable broth until it was kind of the consistency of like a chicken pot pie consistency. And I did it to kind of mimic the consistency of like the canned soups because canned soups, at least the ones at Walmart that I've found, aren't vegan. And so I always have to make my own. But once that was done, once the filling was done, I let it cool off while I rolled out the dough. And I ended up having to make more, which is completely fine. But if you're going to do this, I would make a full pie dough recipe because you're going to need both of them. Because you're going to need the bottom to go in the cupcake tins and then the top to go over it. And I would very, very highly recommend getting a spray oil, like the spray oils, and spraying down your cupcake tin really, really well. I didn't do that. I got just like a regular oil that you get in like the bottles, and then I used a pastry brush and just brushed around, and it did not work out at all. So definitely get a spray oil. Like I said, this meal was probably our favorite that we made in a long time. It did take me forever though. Like I want to say it took me a good hour and a half to make this recipe. I think part of that is how I had to make the pizza crust, and then just the trying to measure it out and filling the stuff and waiting until it cooled down to fill it, and then waiting the 30 minutes for it to bake in the oven because I baked it at 375 for 30 minutes. But once I was done, this meal was completely worth it, and we will be making it again. And that is all we had to eat this week. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And if you liked what's in this video, consider sticking around for more. And definitely let me know down below if you try any of the recipes. Have a good week. Bye.